items photographed were discovered as soon as we realized what is being discovered through the digging and excavation process. They were then photographed instantly. Certain items were revealed naturally through the melting process and the snow, no longer concealing those items underneath.
Thank you. Ms. Gilman, can I have photograph 7666? Again, sir, do you recognize what's up on the screen? It has now been marked as Exhibit 470.
I do.
When do you recognize that?
That is a clear black and red piece of plastic.
And Ms. Gilman, if I could have photograph 7669. And Sergeant, do you recognize what's now up on the screen as Exhibit 473?
Yes, that is another piece of plastic.
And towards the top middle of the screen, do you recognize what that is?
Yes, that's a fire hydrant from 34 Fairview Road, grass area.
Ms. Gilman, if I could have the next photograph, 4670. For the record, this is Exhibit 474. Do you recognize that, sir?
Yes, sir.
Is that a closer-up image of what was depicted in the prior exhibit?
Yes, it is.
And Ms. Gilman, if I could have photograph 7672. And sir, do you recognize what's up on the screen, which has now been marked as Exhibit 476?
I do.
And when do you recognize that to be?
Another piece of red taillight plastic.
And lastly, from this batch, Ms. Gilman, if I could have photograph 7673. Again, sir, do you recognize what's up on the screen, depicted in what's now marked as Exhibit 477?
I do.
And what do you recognize that?
That is the fire hydrant and the telephone switch box located on the edge of the property line at 34 Fairview Road.
Now, the photographs that I had just placed before you, haven't you had a chance to review those?
I have.
And do you recognize what's depicted in those photographs?
I do.
And what do you recognize those?
The property at 34 Fairview Road, left corner towards the street, capturing the flagpole and the telephone switch box.
May I approach on?
Yes.
Call multiple to introduce and admit as the next exhibits. No objection.
Okay. Thank you.
Your Honor, with the court's permission, if I could publish a few of the photos from this set.
Okay.
Ms. Gilman, if I could have photograph 7681. Sergeant, do you recognize what's up on the screen? It has now been marked as Exhibit 481.
I do.
If you could describe to the jury what's depicted in this photograph.
A red piece of plastic.
And Ms. Gilman, if I could have the next one, 76.
Can you use the pointer to show us where that is, please?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, thank you.
Ms. Gilman, 7682. And Sergeant, do you recognize what's depicted on the screen and has now been marked as Exhibit 482?
I do.
You know what? I'm going to see counsel at sidebar for just a minute, please.
You are unmuted.
I'm sorry, Ms. Gilman, 7682. And Sergeant, do you recognize what's up on the screen as Exhibit 482?
I do.
What do you recognize that to be? Is
A red piece of plastic.
that the same piece of plastic, the close-up image from the prior exhibit?
Yes, it is.
And Ms. Gilman, if I could have photograph 7684. Sergeant, do you recognize what's up on the screen and is now been marked as Exhibit 484?
I do.
And what do you recognize that to be?
A white clear piece of plastic and a red piece of plastic.
And lastly, from this, sir, Ms. Gilman, if I could have 7687. Sir, again, do you recognize what's up on the screen? It's now been marked as Exhibit 487.
I do.
Now, Sergeant, with reference to the photos before you, have you had a chance to review that set of 10 as well?
Not this one yet, not yet.
If you could, please. And Sergeant, do you recognize what's depicted in those photographs?
I do.
What do you recognize those to be?
Items that were located in the street, being the black cocktail drinking straw, and then black pieces of plastic, molding plastic, and clear pieces and molding from taillight.
May I approach, Your Honor?
Yes.
Almost introduce in minutes the next time.
Any objection, Mr. Jackson?
None, Your Honor.
Thank you.
Thank you. Your Honor, with the court's permission, if I could display some of these photographs of the jury.
Okay.
Ms. Gilman, if I could have 7688. And Sergeant, you recognize what's up on the screen?
I do.
What do you recognize it to be?
It's the wide shot of the drinking straw being found on the edge of the roadway in front of 34 Ferry Road.
Sergeant, if you could, using the laser pointer before you, if you could direct the jury's attention to where you observed that straw. And Ms. Gilman, if I could have 7689. Sergeant, what are we looking at in this photograph?
It's a close-up view of the same straw.
Ms. Gilman, if I could have 7692. Sergeant, do you recognize what's up on the screen? It has now been marked as Exhibit 492.
I do.
And what are we looking at in 492?
Piece of plastic next to a measuring ruler that's provided for comparison and by the crime scene photographer to document the item.
And Ms. Gilman, if I could have 7695. For the record, this is now Exhibit 494. Sergeant, what are we looking at in 494?
It's the same item from just prior, just zoomed in more, showing the detail of the black molding, the clear clear plastic, and red plastic.
Sergeant, as far as those photographs before you, have you had a chance to review those?
Yes, I have.
And do you recognize what those are?
Yes, I do.
What do you recognize those?
There are pieces of red plastic, pieces of clear plastic, and a piece of glass.
May I approach, Your Honor?
Yes.
I'm about to seek to introduce and admit the next exhibits.
No objection.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Your Honor, with the court's permission, if I could publish just a few of these photographs for the jury as well.
Okay.
And Ms. Gilman, if I could have photograph 7700. For the record, this is now Exhibit 498. Sergeant, if you could describe to the jury what we're looking at here.
We're looking at a red piece of plastic next to a measuring ruler on the edge of the grass on the property at 34 Fairview Road by the road.
And if you could, sir, using that laser pointer, just direct the jury's attention to where you observe that item to be in this photograph.
Right there.
Ms. Gilman, if I could have photograph 7705. And for the record, this is Exhibit 502. And Sergeant, if you could, again, describe to the jury what, if anything, of significance you noted there.
It's a shard of red plastic next to a measuring ruler.
Ms. Gilman, if I could have photograph 7708. For the record, this is now Exhibit 504. Again, Sergeant, if you could, using the laser pointer, direct the jury's attention to what, if anything, of significance you note in this area.
There is a black piece of plastic molding next to a measuring ruler.
Lastly, from this set, Ms. Gilman exhibits, excuse me, photo number 7712. Again, for the record, this is Exhibit 508. And again, Sergeant, if you could, using the laser pointer, direct the jury's attention to what, if anything, of significance you would note in this.
A clear piece of plastic next to a measuring ruler.
That's found on the grass area as well, is that correct?
That is correct.
Now, Sergeant, with reference to that new set of photos before you, have you had a chance to review those?
Yes, I have.
And do you recognize what's contained within those photographs?
Yes, I do.
And what do you recognize that those photographs to contain?
They contain small red pieces of plastic from 34 Fairview Road on the grass area where we located the others. Also contain a flimsy piece of circular, like very malleable plastic, clear plastic, in addition to that.
May I approach, Ron?
Yes.
Come up, seek to introduce the minutes of the next 10 exhibits.
No objection.
Thank you.
Thank you. And Your Honor, may I publish some of these photos for the jury?
Yes.
Ms. Gilman, if I could have photograph 7715. For the record, this is now Exhibit 511. Sergeant, direct your attention to the screen, if you could, using that laser pointer, direct the jury's attention to what, if anything, of significance you observe in this photograph.
That is the thin, malleable, circular in shape, a piece of clear plastic that was located in the lawn area of 34 Fairview Road.
Now, lastly, Sergeant, there's that set of photos that I just placed before you. Have you had a chance to review those?
Yes, I have.
And do you recognize what's depicted in those photographs?
Yes, I do.
And what do you recognize those to be?
There are items. Those are items recovered in the lawn at 34 Fairview Road. Those items are a shard of glass, a BPD baseball hat with an American flag, and stains of blood.
Your Honor, may I approach?
Yes.
I'm going to introduce the minutes of the next 16
No objection.
exhibits. Sorry.
No objection.
5 what? Thank you very much.
Thank you. And Your Honor, with the court's, I'm sorry. Your Honor, with the court's permission, may I publish some of these photos for the jury as well?
Yes.
And Ms. Gilman, if I could have photograph 7727. For the record, this is now exhibit 520. And again, Sergeant, if you could direct the jury's attention to what, if anything, of significance you observe in this photograph.
I observed a shard of glass next to a measuring ruler.
And Ms. Gilman, if I could have 7729. For the record, this is exhibit 522. And again, Sergeant, if you could describe to the jury what we're looking at here.
It's a larger piece of red plastic with black molding around the edge, located next to the telephone switch box on the grass area at 34 Fairview Road.
And Ms. Gilman, if I could have photograph 7733. For the record, this is exhibit 526. And Sergeant, from this photograph, what, if anything, are we looking at here?
This photograph here depicts the area which we are excavating during the morning hours of February 3rd, 2022. As the shovel works its way towards the grass, my laser pointer is directing your attention to Mr. O'Keefe's hat that was compacted underneath the snow on the ground.
Now, as far as this photograph is concerned, does that accurately depict the depth of the snow that you were digging into and sifting through on the morning of February 3rd?
It does.
And that, again, is several days after the blizzard of January 29th, correct?
That is correct.
And Ms. Gilman, if I could have photograph 7740. For the record, this is exhibit 530. And again, Sergeant, if you could describe to the jury what we're looking at here.
We're looking at Mr. O'Keefe's hat on the grass, pressed down and compacted to a flat surface underneath the snow, which has been excavated around it.
Thank you very much. Ms. Gilman, you can take that down. Thank you, Mr. Ross.
Thanks.
Sergeant, on February 3rd, 2022, is that the first time that you had been at 34 Fairview Road?
Yes, it is.
And with respect, if I could turn your attention briefly to the following day of February 4th. Did you have occasion to go back to 34 Fairview Road on that day?
Yes, I did.
And what brought you to 34 Fairview Road on February 4th?
Having excavated those items on the 3rd, I directed the troopers in my office, who obviously reside in the communities around us, to make a point to travel by that location every day on the way to work and every day on the way home. The purpose of that was to see if anything else was to reveal itself as the snow naturally melts away and items could present themselves. So on the February 4th, as I am traveling to work, I diverted my typical route of travel to go by 34 Fairview Road. Just prior to my arrival, I received a call stating that there was Kent police representatives at the scene, and more items have been revealed due to the melting snow, and that I should come collect those items. I was down the street. I arrived and collected the item that presented itself.
And if you recall, that item that you collected on February 4th, was that located on the lawn, on the street, or something else?
It was on the lawn.
Now, with reference to your collection of these items, either on February 3rd, February 4th, or on any sort of subsequent date, how were they collected, and what exactly did you do with them in reference to the seizing of the items and storage of the items?
Each item that was collected was placed in a evidence paper bag The collection was done by utilizing latex gloves to prevent any transfer of evidence from fingerprints to DNA onto those items. Then those items were transported to our office, logged into the system, and stored in the evidence lockers at the office.
And each of those respective bags of items or evidence, they were sealed as well, is that correct?
That's correct.
Now, turning your attention to February 10th of 2022, did you have occasion to go back to 34 Fairview Road on that day as well?
I did.
And what, if anything, did you observe, or what, if anything, did you seize on that particular day?
We seized more shards of glass and plastic.
And if you know or if you recall, how many pieces did you seize on that particular day?
My memory's exhausted to that, but exact numbers annotated in on the bags that the items were placed into.
Your Honor, may I approach?
Yes.
I'm showing you documents, just ask you to look at that section and look up when you're finished. Your Honor, may I approach?
Yes.
Sergeant, is your memory refreshed as to how many items or what the items were that you recovered on February 10th?
Yes, it is.
And what were those items and how many, sir?
There was 6 items of clear red and black plastic and 14 items of plastic and glass.
Now, in addition to the dates that you were present at 34 Fairview Road and recovered items, them being February 3rd, February 4th, and February 10th, were there other dates that you're aware of that items were recovered by troopers that you supervised?
Yes.
And if you recall, what were those dates?
The dates were January 29th, February 11th, and February 18th.
Were there items recovered on February 8th as well?
Yes.
Now, as far as your direction or having, let me first start with you. So on the dates that you were there, February 3rd, 4th, and 10th, were you alone on those dates, or were there other troopers with you when you were there?
On the 4th, I was alone as far as state police personnel. There were other Canton law enforcement representatives at the scene with me as I collected that one item. On the other days, I was accompanied by other troopers.
And as far as you know, obviously not being present, but from your supervision of these troopers, were there other occasions where individuals were at 34 Fairview Road? Were they alone or were they with a group of troopers? Objection.
Sustained.
Now, as far as the items that were recovered when you were there on February 3rd, February 4th, and February 10th, did you have occasion to bring those items with you to court today?
Yes, I did.
And Your Honor, may I approach?
Yes.
I'm presenting you with a box. First, just ask if you recognize that box.
I do.
And what do you recognize that?
It's the box storing items logged into evidence as they relate to this case.
And Your Honor, with court's permission, may the sergeant open the box?
Yes.
Thank you. Now, first, Sergeant, with regard to the items as far as plastic and or glass that you recovered from 34 Fairview Road on February 3rd, if you could locate those items. Sergeant, with respect to each of those bags, they contain items of evidentiary value, whether they be plastic or glass, that were recovered on February 3rd. Is that correct?
That's correct.
And I'm sorry, how many bags in total do you have there before you?
I have 3 bags, 2 containing broken glass and plastic, and a steering straw, broken red plastic and clear plastic, and a bag containing 1 black Boston Police Department hat.
Your Honor, the Commonwealth will seek to introduce in minutes the next 3 exhibits.
No objection.
Okay.
No particular order.
Thank you.
Your Honor, with respect to what's now been marked as Exhibit 537, with the court's permission, may the sergeant remove that item, the hat, from the bag and display for the jury.
Yes. Thank you, sir. You can place that back in the bag. Sergeant, from your observations of Mr. O'Keefe on surveillance video from both C.F. McCarthy's and the waterfall on January 29th, what, if any, similarities did you observe between the hat, which you just displayed and located on the lawn of 34 Fairview Road, and the hat Mr. O'Keefe was wearing in those videos?
It appears to be the same exact hat.
Now, Sergeant, with reference to the box of other items, if you could remove what, if any, items you recovered and seized from 34 Fairview Road on February 4th. And again, sir, just for the record, what's contained within that bag from February 4th?
Contained within the bag is a piece of red, hard plastic taillight cover.
Your Honor, the Commonwealth will seek to introduce in a minute the next exhibit.
No objection.
Thank you. Exhibit 538.
And lastly, Sergeant, with regard to the box, if you could remove the items that you seized from February 10th, 2020. And Sergeant, with respect to those 2 bags of items, if you could just inform the jury what is contained within those bags.
Bag labeled item number 10 contains 6 pieces of red, black, and clear plastic. Bag labeled number 11 is containing 14 pieces of glass and plastic fragments.